Hello, I'm Ed Delgado, the National Program Manager for Predictive Services in Boise, Idaho. This month's outlook, we'll start with May. It's the first outlook that we do that covers the entire summer fire season. We're looking at a couple of things this spring of concern, a couple of areas of concern. We have Florida, which has been very dry the last 2 or 3 months, and they are experiencing an increase in fire activity right now that is expected to continue for a little while longer. Not expecting any significant amounts of rain, and they have prolonged precipitation deficits that are keeping things dry in the region. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, in southern parts of Arizona and New Mexico, we also have some very dry conditions, but there's also an additional fuel loading this year because of the wet winter and early spring that we had in the region. There are a lot of grasses and brush that are available to burn. As we move into parts of the interior Rockies, we're seeing a lot of snowpack remaining on the higher elevations, and that's going to delay the fire season, keeping fire activity in May across the interior West below normal for the month. And also, we've had a significant amount of precipitation and severe weather across Texas and the mid-Mississippi Valley all the way over into the mid-Atlantic states, and we're seeing a decrease in fire activity there for a below normal May. As we go into June, we're going to continue to see those below normal areas in the interior West and across the mid-Mississippi Valley, but we're going to start to see a bit of an increase in fire activity on the West Coast with the Central Valley and the lower foothills of Central California starting to see an increase in fire activity as a result of the high snowpack and the precipitation over the winter. That precipitation covered most of the state and really brought down the drought conditions across most of the state to levels that we haven't seen in about 5 or 6 years. So with the additional grass and brush growth in California, we're going to start to see an increase in fire activity in the lower and mid elevations, beginning in June in the Central Valley and in the foothills along the Sierra Crest. Meanwhile, Florida continues to remain a problem. We don't expect a lot of precipitation to reduce their extreme conditions there, and also southern Arizona continuing with the high fuel loadings in the brush and grass fuels, keeping them in play through the month of June. As we get into the late summer, July and August, we see temperatures continuing to increase in the west, but we still have a lot of snow. We'll potentially have some snow remaining at the higher elevations in the interior west, keeping a lot of the high elevation mountains at below normal fire activity this late summer. But as we move later in the year, we're starting to see more of the lower and mid elevations of California increase in fire activity as more of the vegetation dries and cures out in the heat. We don't expect a significant amount of a large amount of fire activity in Southern California, or at least not more than we normally would expect this time of year. Except that we haven't seen a huge decrease in the timber fires. We'll still see some fires in the region, but it's not expected to be above normal. The areas that are most concerned in the west are going to be parts of northern Nevada and parts of northern and central California, again, where the grass and brush fuels are the heaviest. We still see a problem in Florida. Conditions are not going to be decreased. The dry conditions won't decrease too readily as they get into their drier part of the year, more convective, less widespread rainfall. However, it is tropical season as we get into the summer months, and one good tropical system, whether it's a depression or a tropical storm or even possibly a hurricane, could bring enough rain to mitigate the dry conditions in that part of the country.